Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Episode 62 of Radio Reflections here, and we have some never before seen guests.
Just one.
Have some never before seen guests.
Just one.
Just
one.
one. So join us for I think the third time. Is this your third
This
one?
is my
Haley?
third one.
So for the third time ever in the history of humanity, Mrs. Haley, it is. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
No. So, for the third time ever, Mrs. Haley Tallman is joining us here on Radio Reflections.
Hello.
And for the first time ever,
First
we have
time.
over here all the way to the left, your right, if they're watching it.
I don't really know how that works.
Something. You're
She's
left
on
there,
the
right?
She's on the side.
All the way
over
over there is Mrs. Rasika Stewart.
Hi.
Who
Howdy.
is so Rasika, now
Yes.
hopefully everybody knows who you are. But for the people that don't,
Yes.
give us like the 60-second bio right here.
Oh boy. Well, first, okay, I work here at the church. So if you didn't know that, now you do now. I'm the youth director, so I hang out with all of the teens, and I love that role. I'm also the office manager, so I hang out with all of the my coworkers, and I love that role as well. Man, I'm a follower of Jesus. I love naps, love dogs, and love carbs. That's
Do you
all
love
need to know.
naps with dogs?
Sometimes.
I took a nap with a dog yesterday.
She did. She
Okay.
took a nap
Which
with
one?
one of the
Finn.
Goldens. Yep.
I love Finn.
I do
He's a
every
little
once
bit
in a
of a
while,
spaz.
except for the fact that they get really warm really quick,
Yeah.
and then they toss around, so it interrupts my nap.
That's what
So
happened to me yesterday.
it has to be really cold for me to want to nap with a dog, but I do.
Okay.
I don't mind them.
So like a post cold plunge nap,
Yes,
you'd bring Bronco or Finn into the mix, and
all three
I
of
probably
them.
would have done that.
All
yeah.
three. They just pile on top of me and keep me warm.
okay.
Yeah.
Which none of us, well, I can't say none of us know how to make coffee because Rasika knows how to make coffee.
She made this coffee.
But we don't have fancy. Well, what are you
Yeah.
drinking? Okay, JB's not here to
Vanilla
make us the
caramel latte.
fancy coffee.
I am drinking a vanilla caramel latte.
A vanilla caramel latte.
Yeah, and it's delicious.
What are you? What tasting notes are you getting from that vanilla
There's
caramel
some
latte?
like sweet vanilla in it.
Sweet vanilla, as
Yeah.
opposed to.
Sour.
There's a
that
secret
a real thing?
ingredient
I'm
in this
sure it
coffee.
is if it's expired.
It's true. There's a secret ingredient. See
Do
if you can
coffee
taste
syrups
it.
expire?
No,
Rasika?
it would
They,
be
they
the-
definitely do.
Well, like what happens to them when?
Well, if you get like a
crystallize, right?
I think the syrups just wouldn't taste great. The sauces though will mold.
huh?
Yeah, they'll
I'm
go
not
That's
mold.
tasting
gross.
mold,
Yep.
in case anyone's wondering.
That's not the
Okay.
secret ingredient.
So thankfully the church syrups are not moldy.
They're not. They're not.
Quality control.
We
taste
use them
like-
enough.
They
that-
taste like true caramel.
good. That
So
was
I'm
the
not-
secret ingredient.
Of my vanilla caramel latte.
Caramel is the secret
I know that
ingredient in the
everybody
vanilla
is
caramel latte.
Yeah. I should have said like it's like a little butterscotchy. It's like sugary and
Yeah.
milky.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
things that JB hates in coffee.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But you know what? He's not here.
It's true. I don't even know where he is.
He's in Florida.
He just told me that he was. Oh, that's right. He had to go
Yep.
back down south.
Yep.
He's,
the warmth.
he's in the warmth.
Yes.
So, kind of, how warm is High Castle, North Carolina?
I love
These
to call it
days.
that. It's not.
Oh,
No. And when I left, it was like
is it like negative
it was
27?
like,
Like,
no,
what we
no.
had? Okay.
It was like 18 when I left on
Oh.
Saturday. And so I mean it's not like drastically different than
Okay.
here. There's no snow on the ground in
I think
High Castle.
our feels like temperature
White
was
Castle.
10.
I just run. No, he calls it something different every time, and I run with High Castle because it makes
High
me
Castle.
feel like
It's High
royalty.
Tower, right?
It's High Point.
High Point.
Dang it!
High Tower. I like it.
High Tower. Yeah, I live in a
I'm
tower.
just gonna
I'm Rapunzel.
Your hair's a little short. Maybe it's after the
I would
cut.
need. Yeah, I did. It is after the cut because her hair also turns brown.
It does.
Not
Yeah.
that I've ever been blonde in my life. I haven't.
Can I just state that JB did post an Instagram story last
I
night,
saw it.
and it's like this. I think he was in maybe like a grocery store walking in, but it's this truck that's like lifted,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and it's got disco lights under the tires.
Under the carrot.
Yeah. So I said to him,
Just go like it's like,
it's like
it's changing colors actively.
Yeah. So I
Very
said,
Florida.
be honest.
I think that's illegal here.
It's very
It
Florida.
is. I said, be honest, that's your rental car for the week, isn't it? And he has not responded. So I think it might be his rental truck for the week.
Would we be surprised? No. Oh my gosh. He would do something
He
like
would
that.
do something like that.
Apparently,
That's
too,
awesome.
since he's not here, we can talk about him. His wife, Lisa, told me yesterday that he read his Airbnb agreement on Saturday night. like last minute, and in it there was a disclaimer that was like, there are alligators on property, like do not touch them. And apparently
He's totally gonna go
I
touch an
know!
alligator.
because she said he was talking like, no, I can totally do it, and she told him before he left, do not touch an alligator.
So every time we go to Exponential down in Orlando,
Uh-huh.
I think JB and Fish, they're always looking for alligators.
Yep.
So
Well, JB has hit the jackpot because his Airbnb specifically says at the bottom, there are animals on the property. They will be close to you. Do not
who
touch
needs a guard dog when you have alligators?
A guard
in your
alligator.
neighborhood.
I don't think those are as easy to train.
I don't think they guard you, though. It's kind of the opposite.
But I mean, but it's universal. They'll just eat anybody.
Right.
So like if you come to steal my stereo, like
Right. That
You're
works.
eating.
Yeah.
But then what do you
if
do?
I come
Just
home
stay
and listen to my
inside?
stereo, they eat me.
Man.
Like it's,
Oh my
now it would have to be. You'd think I don't know enough about alligator science. If you know about alligator science,
Yes.
please fill us in.
All you
But
wildlife experts in Michigan.
It seems like hey, maybe somebody's gone to that alligator sanctuary in Athens,
Maybe.
right? We have one near here. Did
An
you know
alligator
that?
We should.
An
We should
alligator
take.
sanctuary.
I'll take you up this
That's a
summer.
real thing.
With the kids?
Yeah, sure.
Take the kids to the
And then
alligator
Graham
sanctuary.
can
Yeah.
wrestle an alligator or
He-
something.
No,
We
definitely probably won't be
would.
doing that.
No.
But
Mhm. Let's not do that.
But you would probably have to have a pretty substantial sized alligator to take down like a grown person. I mean, I would think. Help us out here, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
feel that there are plenty of TikToks or Instagram reels to counter your statement.
Of
Here's the thing.
alligators like eating grown adults.
I
what
mean,
kind
not
of a
like on the social-
jackwad
No, whoa, whoa,
stands
whoa,
there
whoa, 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 whoa.
TikToking an alligator eating somebody?
I'm thinking about like Steve Irwin and stuff. All the stuff you.
But a gator didn't kill him.
Correct. It was a stingray.
Yeah,
That's
it's just
true.
like wrong place, wrong time kind of a
that
thing.
that definitely was. I did see something. It might have been like a TikTok. I'll be honest. One of them, alligator or crocodile. I don't know what it is. Like if you're being chased, you should run in zigzag formation because they can't turn very fast.
Is this on land
Yes,
or the
no,
water? 'Cause
not
I'm
in
pretty sure the water they're pretty
no,
agile.
No,
I don't
no,
think you'd be
In
running
on
on
land,
water.
on land.
Jesus did.
But we're not Jesus, and we can't
We're
do
not.
that.
But he said we would
so-
do greater things than. I'm just saying.
It could happen.
I mean, it could happen. I just don't know that the likelihood of me running on water from an alligator is going to happen anytime soon.
It'd be like in the cartoons where they
So
come up
fast.
out of the water with like an alligator or a shark that's coming. They're like,
You
and their
just
feet are
fast.
like spinning.
You're running
Very
so
Flintstones.
fast.
And then they
But
just
very,
like
very
zoom.
Flintstones.
Yes.
Very Flintstones.
The sound effect too.
Or Wildcrafts,
Yeah.
which is what my kids have watched. And there's an episode of this,
Yeah.
of a lizard that can walk on the water.
Oh yes.
But I don't
Is
know
it the
what
one
it's
that
called.
like where the little thing goes?
Yes,
like his
they
little.
Yes.
have like little dragon things.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which you'd think would make it harder to run on the water because
think
now
it would
you have
slow 'em
all
down.
kinds of drag.
kind of like a parachute.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
think. God's a creative
Maybe it's porous
designer.
and it helps like air goes through the little.
Well, wouldn't it just be
That's gonna be-
better
I
to
just
keep it
found our
all
thumbnail.
Is that the
tucked
thumbnail?
in?
Just found the thumbnail.
Right there.
And Jesse.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, that way exactly how I expected.
Are you drinking coffee, Rasika, that you
I've
can
got
talk about?
H2O because I do
H2O?
not like H2O. So
You don't like it, so that's what you're drinking.
this
She's
is
trying
what
to do better.
I think Instagram people do, like when they show their makeup products, they put their hand behind so you can see it. It is,
But also, we're not sponsored by
we're
by
not,
Kirkland.
we're
so cover
not.
that label.
So it,
Or
it rhymes
Why
with
do they-
Schmashko.
Why do you? How does
So
that
you can
help?
see
I
the
don't know.
product. I think because the lighting hits it, and then you can't see the product, so you put your hand behind it, so you can.
She knows water's clear, right?
No, I'm talking the label. The label.
I don't know. She doesn't drink very
know.
much of it, apparently.
I know, but I am drinking water today because my
She
My
the
body
waters.
needs water.
She needs
Okay.
the waters.
All right. Well, and I'm drinking a strawberry lemonade Celsius that I got from Sika.
That's true. I traded
on.
that in for the water.
Unfortunately,
Yes.
she did.
That's
She had
okay.
her hopes set on that Celsius.
I
It was
did.
Like,
Oh.
no, but then
No,
she was like,
no.
I should probably drink water.
I was like, I need to drink some water today.
Yeah.
I need to be a grown up and drink water. It's okay. Not that you're
sure-
not a
Not
grown
sure what
up.
that says about me.
Not that you're not a grown up for drinking the Celsius. You are. I know I
I'm
need
the
to
true
hydrate.
grown up here. I
You
have
got coffee.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's all like cream and sugar. in it.
Yeah.
Like pretend
No.
coffee. No.
It's not pretend coffee.
I mean, it's a lot of cream and sugar, but it's good coffee.
It is good coffee.
I
You
put
got, like,
the right
that much.
measurements.
I
That
don't.
much
Here's the
coffee.
thing: when I come up here, I don't even tell Rasika anymore. Like, hey, I asked her this morning if she would make me coffee, but I do not actually say like, I want, because whatever
just
she's
know,
made
I
me is
just
always
know.
delicious. So I just say, yeah, just make me whatever.
I was a
She made me
barista.
She was a barista.
So
She
I
made
feel
me a
like
breve yesterday
did.
for church.
Was it good?
It was delicious.
if you've not had a
Which
breve,
one is that again, though? I tried.
Yeah.
I was somewhere and I got an Americano.
That is
and
not
Just
close
straight
to a
up?
breve.
That was like super not.
It's not.
That was not good.
really
That's
great.
espresso and water.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's all.
probably
It's
why
basically
it was
really
gross.
watered down espresso.
Like I like espresso. I'll do
Yeah,
shots
but
of
it's
espresso.
espresso with hot water.
hot water.
Because I took a sip. I was like, oh,
Yeah, it's not that great.
like that's different.
If you have not had a breve, highly recommend
Yeah, vanilla caramel
going
specifically.
to like Five Lakes, right?
Oh yeah, they're good.
They're good at Five Lakes.
Yeah.
I've not had them at Big B or Starbucks, but it's only because I don't really care for their espresso blends. But go to Five Lakes,
Shameless plug.
get a vanilla caramel breve.
Yes.
You don't need to say breve latte. They know if you say breve, okay? And it's basically just steamed half and half instead of steamed milk. It is like drinking a cloud. It is
so it's richer.
Yes.
It is richer for sure.
But it's good because half and half has good fats in it too. So not that I'm a proponent of skipping breakfast, but if I ever do skip breakfast, it's a good alternative. I do, but I'm not a proponent of it. Like I don't encourage
but you're
it.
saying like I know that it's bad.
No, I know
do
it's
it,
really
and
bad.
I know it's bad.
Yeah, you shouldn't
Why
skip
is it
breakfast.
bad?
Your body
You're not
needs
supposed
the
to skip
fuel.
breakfast.
Your body needs
Says
fuel right in the
all
morning.
the cereal companies.
Well,
No.
technically, like, because I even read something the other day, like all these people who have been doing, like intermittent fasting.
Mhm.
People are saying, "Are you doing intermittent fasting?"
I have for the last
Do you do it?
7 or 8 months.
Do you eat breakfast?
I don't.
Okay, so I read that people are doing it backwards. So, but I mean, I'm sure you're doing great. But I'm just saying,
You're doing everything
Yeah,
wrong, and you're
no,
not.
So far, I'm
I
not
read
grown
it.
up
You're
and
not
I'm
drinking
backwards.
water.
No,
This is going really well for me.
I read it because they were saying that breakfast is what like jumpstarts your metabolism
Yep.
and on your energy for the day. So if you do intermittent fasting, you should eat breakfast and then end your eating earlier. So you eat like an early dinner, which I know would be kind of hard if you're like eating with your family and stuff. But some people will eat at like, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and then their intermittent fasting begins.
Mhm.
And so then you're eating breakfast. That's what I read. So I
Yeah.
don't know if it actually
Yeah.
makes a huge difference, but
Okay.
Yeah, even
Can you
just
cite
like,
your sources? I'm just curious.
I would have to look that back up. But it was definitely
Yeah.
something on the internet. So it's true.
I believe Abraham Lincoln
I think
said that, right?
it's gonna be one of those things. Probably like it's like butter, right? Butter is bad. No, hey, we should eat butter. Oh, like eggs are
Yeah.
bad. No, we should really eat eggs.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
totally going to be like that.
everyone's gonna go back and forth.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
They
Yeah.
do that with cold plunges and pretty much everything. You
Basically.
can find an argument for
Even
Pros and
water.
cons.
just about it.
Water is bad if you drink too much of it. If you drink too much of
Do
it.
you remember
Anything-
when
Oh, wait, that's a spiritual thing there. Anything
Yeah.
in
Too much of a good thing?
Of a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
you remember
Except
like when
Jesus.
the
That's not, never mind. It's not a good spiritual
Oh
analogy.
boy.
Ooh.
when the Nintendo Wii first came out,
Mhm.
they had these contests, and this one woman she drank water to the point where she died
I have heard
because
of that.
like the contest
Yeah.
was like who can drink the most water,
Yeah.
something stupid like
Flush
that.
all,
and,
all
she
your electrolytes
died.
out.
Yeah, I've heard of that happening.
Yeah.
Nope,
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways,
don't do that.
Don't.
don't
yeah.
drink too much water today, friends, but drink just enough.
And find some source on the internet that tells you just how much enough is.
Oh boy.
And do it at breakfast time.
Yeah.
'Cause that's apparently important.
No,
All right,
eat
so-
breakfast. Eat breakfast, please. It's good for you.
Have we killed about the same amount of time that JB and I usually talk about
Probably,
coffee? Okay.
absolutely.
I know, I'm trying to keep a good rhythm.
I know.
here,
I
you
think
know?
that was good. We covered a lot of topics.
We did. Alligators.
Yep.
Yeah. Water, Celsius,
Oh.
coffee, breakfast,
Hey,
intermittent fasting.
there's your next youth fundraiser. Instead of kiss a pig, wrestle an alligator.
I don't think I'm gonna do that.
I would put every dime that I have in Branson's can.
Speaking of dimes, last night Brandon Fish told me that he would give me a nickel for every Nerf bullet I took at the Nerf war last
Haley
night.
got in on the Nerf war.
I
She was
did.
like hiding behind a table,
She's got picture
shooting,
proof. I know.
shooting like the other team, the kids. You
Was
know,
she actually like shooting them or shooting at them?
she
Well, I
got
was
one
on a
person.
team.
No. But I mean, did you?
You got
hit
one
any
hit.
of them?
I think
Yeah,
you got
I
one
did.
hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
hit Leah Brown once,
Okay.
Uh-huh.
and I hit
Yeah.
Who else? There was somebody else, but it was just mass chaos last night.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty much how all Nerf wars go, but
Absolute chaos.
you got in there, and I'm proud of you.
I did.
Yeah.
Haley
You ever-
Brown and I were being the moderators for every single. It was quite funny.
Yeah.
The rule was basically if you hit Haley Tallman at every time. 'Cause I was videoing the pictures. She would be like, if you hit Haley Tallman, you're done. Like at the beginning of every thing. But then whenever I was on the team, she was like, you can hit Haley
Get
Tallman.
her.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. All right. Reclaiming holiness.
Yep. Week.
Number 3.
3. Oh,
I did my number instead of
sorry.
I did the Jimmy Fallon hashtag.
I didn't get the 3 memo that we were doing week 3.
Speaking of
Sorry.
3, do you do 3 like this or like this?
Like what or like
you know
what?
there are people who do
Have
3
we
like
had this conversation before?
Not with me.
I think
Where they
like
count with, like,
ASL,
1,
like sign
2,
language,
3,
it's
4,
actually
5.
like this.
Some people do 3
think.
like,
I could be wrong.
you know, there's 3. And then I feel there are some people who will say
3.
3.
Oh, I've seen this before.
3?
3.
This?
Yeah, like 1 with your thumb, 2,
1,
3.
2, 3.
I
4,
think that's
5.
I think that's American Sign Language is thumb and your first
Oh,
two
well, I've also
fingers.
seen people do it like this, like 3. But I don't understand
I
that.
don't
know.
It
3?
doesn't feel natural
No,
at all.
I'm a
3.
this person.
Me too.
Yeah, I think I'm a that person.
Oh, but you turned yours out. I'm inwards.
I don't know that I think about it this much.
Somehow.
We should write a
Because
study.
you went the same way I did, which is not surprising.
Huh.
Because
We are the same
Yeah.
person, basically.
I know. Yeah.
Oh,
We've learned our Enneagram and our, what's the other thing?
Our colors, so we're
Our
both
colors,
blue
we're both-
6s.
I'm a blue
Uh-huh.
too.
We're both 6s. And we're both,
So we're all blues in the room
what was
today.
the thing that we talked about last time I was on podcast? The,
Widget?
Oh yeah, our widget is the same too,
Our
I
widget
think.
is
Yep.
the same. Yeah. It was the, working genius.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
it's a
same as
widget.
well.
Yep.
Yeah, ours are all
Okay.
the same. So.
Wow.
There you have it. How do you do your number 3s?
Out or in?
I'm sure it matters.
I think
There's probably something on the internet about if you do
Probably.
it outwards, then you're just, I'm sure you're a certain kind of person. If you do it
What were you going to
inwards.
say, Haley? If you do it outward.
Oh. I actually had nothing in my
Oh,
brain.
okay.
Then
It was
that's
not
the
a
way
dig.
that it
It
is.
was not a
Okay.
dig
I was
person
like,
to
man,
you, Rasika. Don't
So-
what are
worry.
you going to say here,
Okay.
Haley?
It's all right. It's all right. We judge because we care, Sika.
That's fine.
That's the
I'm
thing.
used to it by now.
Reclaiming Holiness, Part 3. Pastor Ryan Bibb brought the message yesterday, and his question was, do we understand who we are approaching? Right out of the gate, what jumped out? I know,
Yeah.
Haley, you were like,
Yes,
did
but-
you actually have a chance to sit and just listen, or
Some
were you
of it. I
go,
was
go,
in
go
and
the whole
out.
time?
I was in
Okay.
the green. I was back in the green room a little bit and heard a little bit of it, and he was like, "Man, his passion yesterday was awesome."
Getting fired up?
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that said, the one thing that said, actually, I do have notes. I took notes on my phone.
Oh, look at
I
that.
forgot because I was gonna write it or put it on a post later this week. It was when he said, "We don't start worship, we join in with the heavenly
Oh, that was
hosts
good.
in
Yeah.
worship."
That was really
I
good.
thought that was so good because it is so true in the church that we have this idea of just, oh, well, I'm going to worship, or let's stand and start together. But it's like, no. We are not setting, we're catching up. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
worship is happening
Yep.
in
No, that's
another
good.
heavenly realm all the time.
Yep.
We are
Hmm.
joining in.
Yeah. And it's
Like-
not just singing either.
No,
it's
it's
like how
not.
we live our lives is worship. How are we, implementing that day by day into the
Yeah.
mundane tasks of life? How are we worshiping?
Mm.
And then when he asked, I think it was towards the end when he said, like, I don't think we really know who our God is. That was really convicting.
Oh,
Just because he was saying, if we don't fully understand that, how can you fully worship? Right? So if you just view God as like a quick ticket that's like, you're just a forgiving and like whatever, but we don't
like
have
grandpa
the
in the
awe.
sky kind of thing.
Yeah, but we don't have like the awe and the like sense of his holiness, then we cannot actually approach in that way. Those are the two things I like as I was running around that I heard and I was like, oh, that was good.
Grabbed your attention.
Yeah, it really did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sika, what jumped out to you just right out of the gate? What would
Yeah, I mean, the passion was there. I would say I love, if you have the opportunity to do this, recommend doing it. Watch, or if you attend first service, go home and watch second service, or if you
Well, but don't right now. Oh no, it'll be up by the time. Never mind.
Yeah.
Because it's not up right this second.
Oh,
so,
okay. But yeah. Like,
this doesn't count.
but if you're a first service attender, highly recommend catching up with the second service, because the messages are very obviously the same message, but I think Pastor Ryan brings in a little different perspectives. And so second service, I was actually hanging out back here in the green room and listening to his message, and he brought in the when he was talking about Pastor Brandon and how you're very passionate about what you treasure,
I love
right?
That. Yes.
And that just like caught my attention, and I think there was a conviction there of like, what do I treasure? He was talking about Pastor Brandon when he became a grandpa. And that is a true story that Pastor Brandon.
Everybody,
yes.
It got it was almost embarrassing to go out in public with him.
It
was this?
So we were in
exactly?
Florida. I think it might have been for Exponential.
Because I was
So the
here,
grocery thing, Ryan blended stories though.
Yes, because she was checking us out. He wasn't in a self checkout line.
Well,
right,
and that was in Phoenix.
Okay,
that wasn't at
okay.
Expo.
Phoenix.
Yes. Okay, because I was either here
so,
I was here right after that trip.
Yeah,
because I remember hearing about him specifically saying.
Yeah, I want to tell this little part of the story though. So we're in Florida. We're in a grocery store, just getting a couple of things, and we're checking out, and Brandon's just standing there. Like, I think Amy had said, like, I'm gonna go out to the car just because we had a lot of people in there, and so Amy goes out to the parking lot, and I think there's a couple of other like coworkers and stuff out in the parking lot. And Brandon just randomly says to this checkout lady, she's checking us out. She's asking us like where we're from. So we're like, oh, we're from Michigan. And she's like, wow, like what brings you to, this part of Florida? And we're like, oh, a conference for work. And, we're just chatting with her, And then he goes, hey, do you want to see my grandbaby? And she's like, she's an older lady, but she's very nice. So she's like, I would love to see your grandbaby. So he whips out pictures, right? And he's like showing her the little slideshow he's got on his phone. And he's like making jokes about like, he has a picture, it's actually really cute, but he has a picture of his pinky next to like his grandson's pinky. And he shows her the picture of their hands and the pinkies. And he's like, that's my pinky in case you were wondering. And like, that she didn't really wonder. She was just like, oh, like it was the 5th or 6th picture. And she's like trying to be nice at this point where she's like, yeah, it's really cute. Like, please let me get back to my job.
Right.
But anyway, she's like, you must be a very proud grandpa. And then he's like, yes, I am. And she's like, and like, I'm guessing grandma's really proud to be a grandma. And he looks at her dead in the eyes and says, no, she left me. And I was like, Brandon Robert, she's out in the parking lot. She did not leave you. I was like, you cannot say it like that.
Thinking like she left me in the store.
Yeah,
but
no.
Like,
it sounded like she left him. And I was like, Brandon, I looked at her, I was like, she's out in the parking lot, ma'am. She left the store, okay? Like,
oh, she left me.
Anyway.
Oh, you can't take that kid anywhere.
No, you can't. But that, was very, I would say, convicting, because it is true. Like, if you treasure something dearly, you're going to talk about it a lot. And so that for me was kind of like, well, what do I treasure? I mean, is it truly like my conversations are about the Lord? And so it was convicting for me. And the passion was very much there for
I'd be curious, though, to get you guys' opinions, because we're all blues. For those of you that don't have any idea what that means, that's based on the temperament, and we're melancholic. Right? Is some of that temperament driven? Pastor Brandon's a sanguine, like very bubbly, outgoing, like
people and fun is
people and fun,
Brandon.
right? Like I'm not. I'm kind of a drag. But
we're like silence and solitude is blue. We like, we're very introverted people.
So how might that look differently? Because I'm like, and maybe this is an area where I need to grow, right? Like Pastor Brandon's like, oh, do you want it like random strangers?
Yeah.
Let me show you like 1,000 pictures of my grandson.
Yep.
Versus, like, I remember when Nicole and I got engaged, I came home from work shortly after that, and we were talking on the phone or whatever, and she was like, oh, did you tell the guys you got engaged? I'm like, no, like it didn't come up in conversation. And then,
that's kind of a big milestone.
Well, but I mean, for me, it's
I'm
like,
not sure that's temperament driven. I think that might just be like, oh no.
That's a little bit too big of a milestone to not bring up in a conversation, even if it's casual. Like, oh, hey, by the way, Nicole and I are engaged.
Yeah, that's not the way my brain works. Like even a little bit though.
Were you inviting him to the wedding?
I mean, eventually we did, but
Okay,
like
I
the
was gonna
day
say,
after, like there's
oh.
not really like a good segue.
You didn't
into,
talk to him about like I'm gonna propose to Nicole, like this
No.
week, like
No,
really?
I usually play things pretty close to the vest,
Okay.
but like we kind of made it a game after like the first couple of pregnancies. We're like, how long can we go before we tell?
But I could
any
see
of the
pregnancy
family?
That's
being like a
different.
private thing because it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I could see that.
I think it's
some people
funny
make it
that
more
you
private,
weren't
but
just
yeah.
like so excited that you're like, oh yeah, by the way, got engaged.
I mean, I
last
was
night."
excited, but like there's not like any natural segue to this. So it's
You
like, well,
don't need
hey,
it. No, that's what I'm
no,
trying
you
to
do
say.
though.
I don't know that that
You-
needs a natural segue though.
I mean, if one of my coworkers said to me like, "Hey, what's new?" Oh, you know what? I got engaged.
Here's the
that
thing,
didn't
though.
happen though.
Okay, I will say the way that we went about like we planned our wedding before we were technically engaged. Like before I had a ring on my finger, okay?
They
Like
sure did.
we knew that we wanted to get married, so like in a sense we were waiting for the ring to come. But like when we actually got like engaged, I think. I mean it was Saturday night. No, it was Friday. We got engaged on Good Friday. That Sunday though, I came in and told all of you, like I was super excited.
It's
mean,
different
granted-
for a
Maybe-
woman though
maybe
because
it's
you
a-
have a ring to show.
Yeah, but like we text his family group chat that night though, like with a picture of like us
Right.
smiling in the ring, and
But
like
that's what I'm saying. You
but
have a
most of us-
ring versus
right.
like a guy who's coming in who's not like you're not just like
Right,
I got
don't have
engaged
anything
last
visible.
night.
I'm
No,
saying,
no,
check
I'm
it
just
out,
saying-
boys.
no.
Like,
no, I'm just saying like he wanted to like tell his family that we got engaged.
Right.
So like we did
well,
the
I
you
told
know.
my family.
Well,
I mean, and maybe
Yeah.
maybe it has to
But,
do with
like,
like the
extended
depth of
cousins?
relationship.
yeah. Well, not extended, but like cousins you see at Christmas.
Like for
and
you, if
stuff.
you told your cousins, you just put out an ad in the newspapers that everybody in the Sturgis
That's so
area could
The joke,
could read
the
about
standing
it.
joke is that I'm related to everyone in Sturgis, and that's just not the truth. I'm related to a
Oh.
lot of people in
Well,
Sturgis.
because you'll
Not
You'll be
everybody.
out
you'll
with
be
Rasika,
somewhere with a
yes.
oh, that's my cousin. Oh,
Hey,
that's my cousin.
you
I'm
wanna
like,
hear a really funny
who
story
isn't
with
your
that?
cousin?
So we were headed to Follow, and we stopped at this Burger King, and like I don't know where in Indiana. We were in Indiana somewhere, and we get off the bus. We're in Burger King. We're standing in line. We have like all these students getting their food, and these people walk by, and I was like, "Hey, Cliff. Hey, Susie." It's my cousin. So my cousin Toby, his
Point.
wife Erin. It's her parents. But I was in Toby and Erin's wedding, so I've known Cliff and Susie ever since I was little. Okay. And like I think Branson turned to me, he's like, you would know those people. You would be related. And I
Yeah.
was like, no, first of all, I'm not related. Like from their daughter, sure, their daughter is my cousin by marriage.
Still.
But I was like,
But this is one
I
of
was
the
like,
complicating factors,
I can't
though.
help that I know people. I'm not always related to them. But it was really funny because it was in the middle of like, I don't
met
know
a lot of
where.
her cousins. Every time I'm up here, I meet a cousin.
But some of it is she uses that term differently than I do. Right? If,
Yours is like
if
a
I'm going to
first
tell you
cousin
about
thing.
my cousin, that is the child of one of my aunts
But
or
your
uncles.
family isn't very
And that's-
large, though. That's
it.
the thing.
Relative to a lot of families, we are. Like
Okay.
you're
I just have a very
half
large,
the world.
Yeah, but if I half the world, if I were to be like, oh, that's my sixth cousin, 17 times removed. That's not like I can't do that math in my head.
Right, I don't even care about those people.
Who is
though.
that? I don't even
I
know
know.
who
No,
that
I know.
is.
Oh, I
But
don't
she
even
can
know off the
knows,
top of my head.
and she just
So
calls
I
him a
just say
cousin.
like, oh, it's just a cousin. It's just easier when you have such a large family.
Right, but technically you can say about even. Oh, that's a cousin. I mean, it's somebody's cousin.
Technically,
But no.
Somebody's cousin. We're all
We're all
related to
cousins in
Adam
this.
and Noah. And,
Well, then
know.
you should start saying, no, I saw my cousin the other day at the grocery store.
I'm not going to do that.
Anyway,
no, it
I
was
do
a
have
great. Yeah, I'm getting us back to this where we got.
Yeah, I
here.
can't even
Yeah.
remember how
I
we
know.
got to this.
It was such a great illustration that Ryan used
It was.
about
Oh.
talking about what you are excites you or
Passionate,
what
yeah.
you're passionate
yep,
about.
what your
because
treasure is.
I remember listening to that story. I already knew that story,
Mhm.
but the way he tied it into like being, you talk about what you're excited about
Yeah.
was super like, oh, what do I talk about? Like,
Yeah, but if it's temperament based, though,
oh, that was the
yeah,
question.
if it's
yeah.
temperament based, I will say the way I maybe would view it is since we are blue and like we do believe like we're introverted, it's more of like a quality over quantity kind of thing. Like I would say that like the people who are close to me do know that I am passionate about Jesus. Like it's not like she I mean, it'd be a little weird if it was like, oh, she works for a church and she never talks about Jesus, but I'm sure there's people like that in the world. But it's not like a mass quantity thing for my temperament. Maybe it's just like a very like the people who I'm, close with.
Because I go to the whole Kinsey and the grandson thing. Like at some point, if I have grandkids, right, I'm not going to go up to random people in the grocery store,
right,
and ask them if they want to see my grandkids.
I don't see myself ever doing that either.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll show you a picture of my grandkids.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll show you a picture.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know.
Right.
It could be temperament driven then.
It could.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, I want to double click on one of the statements that Ryan made. He talked about how sin blinds us spiritually speaking, but I want to kind of extrapolate that and look at different aspects of life. Scazzero does the 3 pillars: mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. He's way smarter than me, but I think there should be 5 pillars. So let's look at those. I think there's physical. I separate mental and emotional. There's which ones did I say already? And then add relational.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that's an area of health. But let's talk for just a few minutes. How does sin affect those other areas of life? Because sin is not just a spiritual reality, right? Sin will affect some of those other things. So how can sin blind us? Let's go to a physical standpoint and or mental, emotional, relational, and just explore that here for just a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Haley. I had to think about it. I had to internally process.
Look, we're all in the same boat here, personality-wise. In
I know.
this show, you're saying, yeah, you got it. And I'm thinking, no, I need to think about it too.
Well, okay.
Oh,
here.
no.
Go. Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I was a part of a worship cohort that went through Pete
Scazzero.
Scazzero.
Yep. His Emotionally Healthy Discipleship book. That was the second time I read through that book. First time was with the staff and then the worship cohort. And now I'm actually leading my youth ministry team through it, which is cool. And he talks about how the 3 pillars, emotional, physical, and spiritual, all balance with each other. Physically, though, if you're going to break down that pillar, we're talking about that right now. I don't know, first thing that comes to mind is like shame, like, right? Sin is like sin brings shame, right? Is it affecting you physically? Because we know that all of the things are affecting each other, right? Like emotionally, physically, spiritually. So where one thing is affecting a pillar, it's going to affect the other 2 or the other 4, 5. I don't know, maybe I'm on the wrong path here, but I just think like, let's just say you have a pertinent thing in your life that's dragging you down, like sin. Within the shame aspect, like I think it's really hard for people to, me included, to dig into like a physical thing. Like, why would I want to be physical if I'm feeling the shame of, a sin? I don't know. Maybe I'm digging into that a little deeper than what I should be right now. I don't know.
No,
I don't
think so.
Well, okay, I was just thinking like, okay, let's just say I am a compulsive liar. Let's just say that. And like, I'm feeling the weight of the shame of it. Like, oh man, I just straight up lied to Josh's face about wrestling a crocodile.
Oh.
And like, I'm just feeling the shame of it. I'm feeling guilty. Like, part of me, and maybe it's temperament based too, part of me is like, oh, I feel really shameful for that. Like, I just kind of want to hide. Like, why am I going to want to get out and like actually work on my physical exercise? Like.
And maybe that now leads to unhealthy coping mechanisms because to deal with this shame, now I'm going to, start smoking weed or something. I mean, because I want to numb this
shame
unpleasant sensation that the guilt and the shame brings.
Yep.
So now I've crossed over from this thing into something that has physical effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Haley, what were you going to say?
Well, I think anytime you are dealing, I think you have to put like, a clarifier around this, that we're talking about sin that you are aware of. And because we all know we're sinners, but I don't think you realize how the way that sin can affect you until you actually are like, oh, this is a problem for me.
But it doesn't require consciousness of it to actually have an effect.
No,
it's harder to deal with.
Correct.
I mean,
But
Yeah,
I'm
once you-
thinking about, I guess I'm saying it in the way of like to know its effect, like to put it
Yeah.
all together. Like, so if you know that you are living in a way that is sinful or making sinful decisions or whatever, like once you realize that and you recognize it as a problem and you're trying to seek Jesus and you're trying to do it differently, I think you can look back on, like, I think about my own life and in my own past, like I can look back on ways that I lived and think, oh, like, well, that is probably why I dealt with, like depression, or this is why, I mean, I still struggle with anxiety, but it's like, this is why I have that, because a sin is, sinful behaviors are never like isolated, right? So you're always affecting something else. So like if you, let's say that you're living in a certain way and like you're automatically going to be lying to people, right? So you're automatically going to be like putting up a front if you're in the church and trying to be different, and you're not at a place yet where you're vulnerable and open with people about your sin. So it affects you mentally because you're like, how do I manage all of this? And then it affects you physically because the stress of that is like intense. And then it affects you relationally because you're not living in biblical community to let people into what's really happening in your life. And I mean, I can just speak to that just because like I've lived this way. And like I know what it's like now in my life to live in a vulnerable way and to let people into that, and just the difference. Like you almost feel once you enter into like the way that Jesus called us to be with one another, with carrying each other's burdens and things, like you almost feel that physical weight. Like I have personally.
You feel the release of that weight.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So which shows that it does affect you, so that's why I say, I don't know that you fully understand the way it affects you in all those ways until you're fully aware and actually have turned and like entered into the way that Jesus calls us to be. Does that make sense?
You didn't realize how heavy it was until you had somebody come alongside you and help shoulder the burden.
Yeah.
Now it's like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Like that was really heavy.
And then you realize like, oh gosh, this stuff does affect you more than just like, oh, well, like everybody sins, you can be super flippant about it. Right. Everybody sins, everybody struggles, everybody has all of their problems. But until you have like entered into like true repentance and true like, okay, Lord, like I recognize this and I'm going to bring people into this, and we're going to, I'm going to move forward and follow you and seek you, even though these things exist in my life. Like there's just a whole different way that you're able to handle sin, well, mentally, physically, because there's a freedom in that, right? Yeah. Like that's what Jesus paid for. So yeah, I think that's what I mean by, I don't think you can fully understand the way that it affects you in these ways until you have experienced the opposite.
It's kind of like the positive spin on you don't know what you have until it's gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're carrying until you're not.
Yeah.
Well,
but that's the freedom of Jesus, right? That's the whole gospel.
It is.
Like you don't know what you're carrying until you say, okay, Jesus, like I surrender and I'm giving it up to you. And then you're able to see like, oh, this is what freedom feels like freedom from the shame and the mental weight.
You should write a song about that.
There is a song. It's
this is what freedom feels like, something, other lyric.
Yep. I'll pin that in the bottom.
What's the like the tagline? No, but then what are they? Come on, help me out, Sika. Like I got nothing.
He's gonna start doing his jazz.
My testimony. This is my right.
No, I don't think it's that one.
Yeah. Well, this is what freedom feels like. From death to life.
Look it up, Haley. Look it up. I think that's the thing. Is it the death to life one?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's some of the lyrics.
This is what freedom.
Is it a Brandon Lake song?
Is it we
praise you, we praise you. Yep, that's it. There it is. This is what
Boom.
living looks like. Yep.
All right, what else jumped out? You got some? Oh, that was like an authoritative smack on the notes right there.
I can say today. I'm done.
Met my quota.
That was really good, though. That was a good quota. No, I just really like taking notes. And
okay.
I am a Probably a little bit. I definitely am a perfectionist. So when the notes go really quick, I'm like, oh, I got to go back and find those later on.
Got to watch the stream.
Yeah.
Yep.
It also helps when you wear glasses because then you can see the back screen.
Unless you're not supposed to wear glasses, then you probably don't. 'cause
Probably
then it'll
don't.
mess
If you
you
have good
up.
eye vision,
So-
you're really lucky.
You are lucky.
You don't have to pay to see people.
Well, if nothing else is jumping out to you, I want to double click on something else because
Yeah, go ahead.
a lot of the kind of the thread that Pastor Ryan wove through that message is trying to help us come to a place where we have a higher level of reverence and awe towards God. How do we kind of live in the tension though between fear in a healthy sense, not like, oh man, I'm scared of God. Although you see that in Exodus, like they were scared, like they were like, don't make me go by the mountain. Right? How do we live in the tension between the fear, but then also this relationship that Jesus paints a picture of us for when he says, hey, how do we pray? We pray our Father, right? So we have this Father relationship, but there's also this fear and reverence. How do we find a good balanced spot there? Because if we go through life terrified of God, and I've had conversations with people, I've probably functioned this way. Like, oh man, I'm just worried that God's going to smite me.
Yeah.
And we're just waiting for the hammer to fall. Like, that's not a healthy thing.
Yep.
Contrast that with the other ditch, if you will, right? Where Pastor Ryan's talking about, we're just super casual. Yeah, what's up? God's my homeboy. Like, no, God is not your homeboy.
Yeah.
Like, that's not,
Yeah, that's stuff drives me crazy.
that's not the way that this works.
Yeah.
So how do we live in that tension?
Yeah, I think it's really comparable to a parent, right? Like, I mean, he is our father, but I mean, if you take like just in parents in general, like you're a parent, I mean, both are parents, your kids love you. I mean, there are probably times they don't like you, but
That's for sure.
they love you, right? But like, so they know that they can come to you if there's something wrong, and they can be, in a sense, maybe a little bit more casual, like, hey mom, like, what's up? Like, hey dad, what's up? But they also have the healthy level of respect for you to know, like, no, as a parent, I have put boundaries down, and it's for your safety. It's not just because you want to be like, I run the show and control. So I think it's a really good comparable contrast to like healthy parenting, right? Like you respect even now, like we have parents, we respect our parents. I think our relationships have changed as we've gotten older.
Oh yeah.
But I still respect my mother dearly. Like, and I listen to what she has to say because I know that she's gone through, more life than me and has gone through, situations that she can give me wisdom. But I also, she is also like one of my first calls when I get exciting news or if I need to process something. I mean, she is like my first call where I know I can be casual. So I think there's like that tension there of like, I can go to my mom in a loving way, and I can also, I also respect her. There's a fear there. Now with the Lord, like I think even just you find more of those probably clarifiers when you dig into the word deeper. Like there is a deeper level of respect and adoration for God, but there's also that I dig deeper into my relationship. I dig that deeper well. And so when I'm going to the Lord daily in his word, it really is both things. It's, oh man, I am fearful of the Lord by honoring and respecting him, but I also know that he is my comforter. And he wants to hear from me, and he wants me to come to him with these things, whether it's exciting or if I'm scared or whatever. It's, he wants those things. And I think as I dig deeper into, the word daily and seek him through worship and praise and prayer and gratitude, I'm getting both of those viewpoints in a healthy dose.
Right. I mean, so you have that loving connection to your mom, but you're not going to interact with your mom maybe in the same way that you would. Like, your mom's not your homegirl.
Right.
Right,
Yep.
like, you're
yeah.
not-
I mean, my mother made it very clear growing up. Like, I am your mother first,
Not your
and then
friend,
I can
yeah.
be your friend. Like, but I am your mother. Like,
Yep.
you will respect me, and that's how this works. And growing up with that, it is like, same thing for the Lord. Like, the Lord overall is, yes, my friend, but he is
The Lord.
He
He's
is the
still the Lord.
I mean, he is here, and and I know that, and I have that respect and that admiration for him, and that role before I see him as my friend, even though he is my friend. So.
Okay. Haley, what do you got?
I mean, I think respect is such a good word to use because if, I think about my relationship yes, I am a parent, but my kids are, 2 and 5. So I'm thinking, like, do they have an understanding or
Respect is kind of a nebulous
Probably not.
idea, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
but we're working on it. But I think about my own relationship with my parents, and as an adult now, like, my parents are the same way. They're like, we're your parents first, and we are your friend, but we are, they had boundaries, and those were to keep me safe. And now as a parent, I understand those a lot more. I think as when you become a parent, you also have a better understanding of God, because you're thinking, like, I want the best for my children, and I'm making these rules because I want the best for my children, right? Like, but not rules. It's out of love, and it's out of, like, keeping them safe, and it's what is healthy for them, because I've experienced and, like, know different things, but it's like, I respect now. Like, I have a different level of respect for my parents now, because I'm like,
for sure.
all the things, growing up that you're like, this is so stupid.
Yep.
Like, why are they treating me this way? And, like, what in the world? Now I'm like, yeah.
You're like, no, Dad, the spanking doesn't hurt you more than it hurts me. This hurts me. Only one of us is getting our butt smacked here.
Sit on a throne of lies. But yeah, I understand those things better, and it is a respect. I think respect is the word. Like, to think, man, because for me, when I see, like, those T-shirts and stuff, it's like, Jesus is my homeboy or whatever. I feel like it's disrespectful. Like, personally, I think maybe it's just the way I was raised, or maybe it's just I have this, like, there are certain things that I see in our culture today talking about, Jesus, or in kind of this. Oh, like, have you seen that new, like, Gen Z Bible? Have you heard about that?
No, did Cool Carl come up with it?
It is.
I have not.
Anyways, we probably don't have time to get into it, but it's like someone went and, like, wrote a Gen Z Bible, okay? And
with all the terminology, like this, like, slaps and, like.
Yeah, have you heard about it?
But Jesus passes out the loaves and fishes, and they're like, "This is bussin'."
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
No, literally. Yes.
Okay.
The Gospel by Gen Z is what it's called.
Okay.
So here's an example. Psalm 119, which I hope is the right reference. I'm not really sure. But it says, I've stored up your word in my heart that I might not sin against you.
That's like the real Bible.
That's ESV. Yeah. The Gen Z Bible says, I got your quotes on lockdown, so I won't be taking L's against you.
Oh.
Taking L's?
Like
take an L,
losses.
take a loss.
Take a loss.
Like, I don't know if this is, like, a translation people are actually, like, but, like, the fact that even someone did it, to me, is, like,
can you imagine, though, like, a kid comes in and they're like, I got my Bible memory verse.
It's called the GZT.
That's
Yeah, I don't
There's
know.
no way that actually counts as a translation.
There's no way.
Yeah, but Hawaiian Pidgin shouldn't really count.
But that doesn't count as a translation. It's a language.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's literally a language. They're
Okay.
just...
I mean, it
So,
may
like, if
be
you go to the
like,
Bible
it
app,
may be,
that's-
they may classify it like you classify the message as not a literal translation.
Well, that's what I
So,
mean.
what's
So,
it
like,
called?
Right.
it's a paraphrase.
Paraphrase.
Same thing with, like, the Passion Translation.
Yes.
That's not a translation. That's a
But
paraphrase.
Still, regardless, even
Yeah.
if, like, I just think there's so many things in our culture today like that are coming out where I'm like, we have lost all sense of, like,
Well,
Well,
my
and
question,
respect.
and I'm not,
I mean, it's a respect.
for the Lord.
like,
Right.
I'm not Gen Z, but, like, do people talk like that in everyday, like,
So some
I mean,
people
'cause
do.
there are some
Like, I
things,
will
right? Like,
say,
every-
like,
You're the youth. You tell us.
every
Yeah.
generation has slang.
right.
Yeah.
Right. But, like, that's not normal vocabulary. Like, I'm not at
Yeah.
home talking to my mom when I'm a teenager. Like, oh,
Right,
mom,
right.
man, this apple pie is the bomb. Right. Like,
Right.
I
Well,
don't talk
Well,
like
okay,
that.
I will say, and just, I think working with youth, I obviously have a more up close and personal view with it. I will say, I think that this generation uses slang more in conversation than any other generation.
Well, because read another one, Haley.
I know, I'm trying to
Because,
find
like,
another
that entire
Yeah.
thing, like, I didn't understand 75% of it.
Put on the whole armor of God so that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil, right? Get dripped out in God's gear so the devil don't catch you slipping.
Okay, dripped up, like dressed in the gear,
She knows the term.
and
I don't.
slipping, like, so the devil doesn't catch you, like, failing.
I know what they all mean.
Yeah, I know.
It's just
I'm not
like,
saying
to
that
me,
that's a
even
good
when I read
thing.
it, I'm like, So did someone just sit down and say, like, we're going to make a comedy out of the Bible? Because that's how it
Okay,
feels.
okay.
Right.
Here's what we need to do though, because you're reading the real Bible first.
Yeah.
Read us one,
Okay.
and then we need to, and don't
We
look
have to
Sika.
guess.
Like,
Okay.
I want Sika to guess.
Oh boy.
Sika will guess one, and then I'll guess
Wait,
one.
am I just guessing what it means, or I have to
You're
figure
guessing
out
like
that?
roughly what passage it is.
Oh
Okay.
no, this okay.
I don't know. I'm just
Well,
curious.
let me see if I can find, like, a one that,
Like a-
popular.
Okay.
Popular sounds bad. You know what I mean.
More well known.
well-known.
Well
Yeah,
known.
one that you could at least
Yeah.
say.
Like a John 3:16.
Yeah.
Well, that would be real.
Or like a Jeremiah.
Way too easy.
Jeremiah
I don't know. Maybe they're all
29:11
like-
or
Yeah, because Papa Cap done slapping the bussin' mustard
No.
seed. Like, I don't know. I don't even know.
Let's do.
I just got out of the book of
we go.
James. Okay.
I'm gonna give big ups to the Lord 24/7. I'll only be spitting mad props to Him. Do you know what it is?
Rasika needs to guess this one.
Is it like something out of Psalms where they're talking about
is.
praising the Lord? Like, I will praise the Lord all the days of my life.
That is it.
Is
I
it?
will bless the Lord at all times.
Let's
Praise
go.
shall continually be.
This is a good
on
thing I
my
work with
mouth.
my lips. See, this is a good thing I work with youth.
It is.
Does it
Hold on,
help me
give
out?
One more,
Okay, go ahead and give one to Josh.
which I feel like we're playing into what I said, but I'm not.
No,
Just
we're not
disclaimer,
condoning
we
this.
are not saying you should read this, and
No.
we are absolutely not saying that should be a version of the Bible.
No.
And we're also not saying that
No, we're
this is
just we're just
We're just genuinely curious to see if this actually even makes an ounce of sense.
It doesn't. But
What are you gonna give him?
you.
I
Oh,
can
I'm
see
giving it
it's
to
given
him?
him.
Yeah, this one's for me.
Oh, do that one.
This one?
Yeah. Oh, that's
That's
easy.
easy. Oh, it's so no. That's
Hold on, stand by, Josh.
Okay.
We're
Wait,
trying to
let's go
get
back
you a
up
good
here.
one here. Like, not super hard, but
just a little bit.
just a little. You could do that one.
Keep it hype for God 24/7. Don't let the prayer grind stop. Gives props every time. This is God's will in His Son. No?
Don't let the what drop?
Keep it hype for God 24/7. Don't let the prayer grind stop. Give props every time. This is God's will in His Son.
The prayer grind?
Mm-hmm. Don't let it stop.
I think it's 1 Thessalonians 5:16 and 17.
You're absolutely right.
You're correct.
So,
Good job.
yeah.
Which, for
The
anyone who wants to
prayer
know,
grind.
is rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. So that was a fun little game, but the whole point being, like, back to the
Have
whole...
we gotten too casual?
Yes.
I think that's very
I think we absolutely have.
Way too casual.
Where's the line between trying to connect with people where they are and still maintaining some level of
Yes.
like dignity and respect? Yeah.
Because people
There's a
will
tension there.
probably argue, like, well, culture is changing, you know, or
Yeah.
we're just using this to reach more people. But I would disagree with that. I don't think that there are plenty of translations out there
Right.
that you could use if someone's having a hard time we're not saying go read,
King
the
James.
King James version.
Right.
Yeah. Like, there are plenty of translations out there that are accurate. And if we're teaching kids that, like, that kind of casualness towards the Lord is okay, then, like, no wonder people have a problem with holiness and awe and understanding who God actually is, because we've done so much to kind of, like, dumb down the gospel, right? Like, to
We've
make it
almost-
more,
Accessible, right?
but it's not.
Have we made it, and maybe this is the wrong way to say it, we made it too accessible. Because ultimately, right,
Yeah.
we can't come into the presence of God outside of the work of Jesus.
Correct.
Right? Have we diminished that in any way in the way that we present things? Like, oh yeah, God, He just wants to be with you. He'll meet you where you're at.
Yeah.
Which is true in a sense,
Yeah,
but not in the sense of like, oh yeah, hey, it's cool. You just do whatever you want. He just loves you so
Right.
much. And
God will catch up to you.
yeah, because, like, language like that, I don't know. I haven't obviously I've read a bunch of it. I've only heard about it. But language like that probably has no, like, seriousness of sin and no, like, that Jesus is the only way. Like, how do you communicate that when you're using like all this slang that's so casual, and then all of a sudden you think the translation is just going to be like, sin's a big deal, Jesus is the only way, like doubtful, you know?
As Chris Kidd would say, sin is really, really bad.
Yeah.
Because it is.
You're right. It makes us blind. But yeah, I just think we've lost, but I think that's probably why it stood out to me when Ryan was like, do we truly understand who our God is? Because even as someone who, I would not say that I like that casual about, but even someone who is a Christian and trying to follow Jesus, I struggle with like not remembering like, oh no, wait, okay, this is God. Like this is a holy God that I'm talking to and approaching and presenting, right, with my life. And how am I doing that in a way that's honoring and respectful and treating Jesus as but I think also we could get into so many things, because you could also break down the Trinity with that, because you're thinking like God the Father, God the Son. Jesus is the one who came and physically was here with us, walking with us, like bearing our burdens and experiencing things that we experience. So you could almost say like that is the more like close part of the Trinity. But then there's God the Father, who you're looking at like with awe and respect. You could divide all of that, but they're all the same.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we need to be as reverent towards the person of Jesus and
as you are
the person
to
of
God.
Holy Spirit as we are to God the Father.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So one other category of kind of like that idea of casualness, and I was sitting there yesterday waiting to see if he was going to go into this, but go back. It's probably been several decades since I've heard anyone use this term with any regularity. Sunday best.
Uh-huh.
Are there,
I'm really glad I was on this podcast.
how far do we take this idea of respect, are there areas where it's okay to be casual? Because we're pretty laid back, we wear jeans and t-shirts and, whatever. How do we tease out some of these areas of respect? I mean, because here's the reality, right? Like if I'm going to go to like a fancy dinner, I'm gonna dress nice. Why don't I do that for God? And there are several pitfalls with this, but I'm curious to get you ladies' opinion on this.
Oh boy, I think of like people who come to church on like Easter and Christmas, dress up, and is it more or less you dress up because it's a holiday, or is it like? I mean, I feel like really primarily for Easter, like. For years you put this whole like idea of get your Easter suit and like get a new Easter dress. So I feel like that has like stuck through the different phases of time. I will say like not that I don't show up in jeans in church. Like I do wear jeans to church, but growing up, like I was always taught like you dress up a little bit nicer for church. Like I wouldn't, not that if you do, it's bad, but like I wouldn't personally roll up to church in like sweatpants or like workout clothes. Now like granted during the week, like even though we work in a church, we have like a pretty, like we don't have like a super strict dress code. I still wouldn't show up to work in like pajama pants by any means, but like, I've worn like a workout.
You can shop at Walmart in those pajama pants though.
That's a real thing. Here's the thing, not everybody in Walmart wears pajamas, Josh. I don't wear pajamas to Walmart when I shop at Walmart either. So, no, I mean.
I'm only laughing because Chris literally sent her, like, on FaceTime, like, yesterday?
Yeah, we were talking to Graham and Chris and Scotty.
Yeah, yep. And Chris made a comment about some Rasika wearing.
She had her Walmart pants on?
No, it wasn't that extreme.
No.
But it was something along the lines of, like, no, but you could wear that to Walmart. That's pretty much what he said.
Yeah, he did. But I leave pajama, like, I wear pajama pants at home. Like, so just like, again, it's, if people do that, like, okay, people do that. I just personally, like, I grew up with this mindset of like, you dress nicer for church. Like you're coming to worship and you're coming to, learn from God's word. And so like, present yourself.
But where we get in trouble is, right,
but it's not legalistic either. I shouldn't say that. Like
maybe the jeans and the t-shirt, that's the best that this person has.
Right, and that's okay.
And we get in trouble if we begin to say, oh, well, you have to wear a suit. You have to wear a dress. Oh, you have to wear a,
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and
gets messy.
it's not that.
I think, but you use the word legalistic. Like, I think about the way that I grew up, and I think about now as an adult, and I the only reason I was like laughing when you asked this question, I put my head down, because the way I grew up was like in a church where, you know, you did dress nicer to go to church, but as an adult, I've asked myself so many times, like, why did we do that? Like, and you know, I understand that there's the reverence point. There's the, if we're gonna wear something nice to X, Y, and Z, shouldn't we dress that way on Sunday? But it so easily becomes legalistic, because I often am like, I catch myself now, like as an adult, if I see people like, I don't know, like, like I've been involved in churches that doesn't allow hats on stage, right?
No.
So here, hats are totally fine, like wear hats, but I noticed yesterday that in second service, there was, like you could just tell the spirit was moving in the room, and JB took his hat off. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but he did. And I thought that was really interesting, because it just brought me back to that realization of like, okay, there are many people could say to me like, why don't you wear your Sunday best? And I could probably be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know why I did it when I was little. I don't know why now, because I don't know that I have like a strong biblical foundation for why that is. And I think that part of the way that I grew up was legalistic.
Well, and if the goal is whole life, 7-day-a-week worship, and wearing a suit is how we demonstrate reverence for God, shouldn't we wear a suit 7 days a week then?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
oh.
But I just found it so interesting yesterday when there was just like this very obvious holy moment happening in service, and he took his hat off. And I respected it a lot, but it also was like one of those, not that I think you shouldn't wear a hat on stage, but it was like, but you took your hat off. Why'd you take your hat off?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it was just it was a moment of clear difference that he felt in that moment. Like, I need to take my hat off. And he's obviously not here to ask, but it's just an example of why do we do the things we do? Yeah.
I actually looked into the hat thing.
Yeah.
Because we had...
churches do all kinds of different
because this was one of the things early... This was years ago. We actually had somebody message the church through Facebook, like, hey, I can't believe that you had a pastor on staff who was wearing a hat.
Or wear a hat during prayer.
Or just, no, it was like, you had a hat on inside.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh?
Yeah.
And apparently, so this must be a generational thing. Like, you don't go inside a building with a hat on. And this was like total news to me. So I started to look it up. Some of it, from what I could find, you can fact check this, right? Has origins to like back when you have knights, and as you come into the city, you like take your helmet off so they can see who you are, kind of thing.
Is taking your hat off
that's
like
such
during
a
prayer?
weird thing.
Is that a normal thing, or is that just a Southern thing?
It's a mixed bag here. I know for me growing up, that was the thing. You take your hat off to pray.
For me, too.
I don't unless
I don't
if
know
I'm with
here.
people to where it's like, okay, I know that I either know what they think or they take their hat off during prayer. Hey, if this is a conscious thing for them, I'm going to respect that. I don't want to.
I wonder though, because like you
be a
take your hat off
distraction.
during the Pledge of Allegiance out of respect. Like,
Yeah,
why
I
do
don't
we
know that
not
I
do that for prayer?
actually.
Like,
I don't know that I do.
oh,
But I
well,
have to.
okay. I will
Sometimes
say
there's so many different. There's so many different.
So most, I would say
things.
most, like when you're at like a high school basketball game of like, we're gonna say the Pledge of Allegiance and like, or sing the, I should say national anthem. I'm sorry, I get those confused. I know they're very different. I know they're very different. Yeah, you could
We
sing
should
the Pledge
sing
of
the
Allegiance.
Pledge of Allegiance.
You could.
You should come up with that right now, Shika.
I want to do it to like an old McDonald.
Oh, that would be fun.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Is this like how you were taught to do
I seriously
remember the
think
pledge?
I seriously think I've heard it before though. Of like schools doing this with kids to like teach them how to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Because I did not just come up with that at the top of my head. I'm not that clever. But
With a
anyway,
blue here and a red there. Here a blue, there a red, white, scattered
Star.
somewhere in the middle.
yes.
We're going to have people that are actually mad that because it seems like we're not being reverent to our national anthem.
Yeah, it's not
which
that.
we have,
It's not that.
but it actually highlights something. It highlights
I am
something different.
respectful of the national anthem, but like you go to a basketball game and they take their hats off for the national anthem, and like, but we don't do that for prayer at church.
Right, but it begs the question, why do we do that for the national anthem?
Right.
Oh, well, it's a sign of respect. How? How is that more respectful than keeping my hat on my head?
I don't
The
know.
same principle. It goes to the same principle of
But
like,
but
why did
here's
we
the thing.
grow up with
But
don't wear a
here's
hat
the
at
thing.
church? Like, does it?
I've
do
had
we
this
think that the Lord
conversation.
cares?
I've had this conversation with my own husband when it comes to the the national anthem of just if I say Pledge of
They're
Allegiance,
kind of the same
I mean
thing,
the national
okay?
anthem.
Changeable on this podcast.
The national anthem of I've noticed that some people will put their hands over their hearts and some people will just put their hands like I'm a hands down by my side. Like but also because when you say the Pledge of Allegiance, you put your hand over your heart, right? So I had asked him, I was like, well, why do you during the national anthem? Anyway, long story short, at what point do we deem like taking our hat off for a song for our country more respectful than taking our hats off for prayer when we're praying to a reverent, holy God?
But my question is that actually a respect issue?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Like, am I?
Yeah,
like,
I don't
I mean,
know.
because I could take my hat off and I don't give two flips about my country. I'm not saying that that's the case. Calm down.
boy.
Right, like,
We may edit that out.
but no. Leave it in there. But really, I mean, I could go through all those motions,
Yeah.
and I'm not actually being respectful, which I think goes back to the whole Sunday best thing. I think this is one of the ways that we have externalized holiness. Oh, it's
I
this.
like
It's
that.
these behaviors. Well, you've got to do this
Right.
because that's how we show
And the Lord
reverence.
looks at the heart.
The
Right.
Lord looks at the heart.
Yeah.
If I could wear a suit and tie every Sunday, but if my heart's not right with the Lord, and I
Right.
don't actually care about God in my
Yeah.
heart, it doesn't matter what I'm wearing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if my heart is like good with God, like I can show up to church naked, right? And my heart's
I
good.
don't think you should do that.
It's illegal,
No.
like all
Yeah.
that
It's
stuff.
illegal. I think it's just a bad idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any plans to do that. Calm down.
Let's not give any ideas to the
But
people
it's
here.
it's almost like we have put those.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
We have
absolutely. Yeah.
created it.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's nothing in the Bible that's
And is it like
don't
we've
wear...
created it to be a divisive thing where it's like
Yes.
where we don't think that certain not we but like just in general like over the course of history of churches like this will help filter out some of the people that we don't think are deserving enough to come
I think that's
worship.
a very
Like-
good point.
No, I had a buddy as a teenager. Like we had a mutual friend who talked about, oh, hey, I'll come visit your church, whatever. And my buddy said, nah, like if you show up in jeans, they will literally kick you out of church.
yeah
And I'm like, okay, that's jacked up.
Yeah.
Like we're missing the point here, guys.
right yep
So,
yeah
no.
Man,
So,
it's a good question.
any other thoughts on holiness
Yeah.
and anything that Pastor Ryan talked about yesterday?
well just I thought it was very interesting. He just said, for the Christian in the room, like, where are you standing? Like, with the whole reverence and holiness. Like, I will say, we're very open about, I guess, giving the, like, maybe warning is not the right word, but, like, hey, if you are not a follower of Christ in this room, like, this doesn't necessarily apply to you. But, like, when he turned and he just said, like, but for the Christian in the room, like, where are you on this topic? And where do you stand with the reverence and the holiness? I thought that was really interesting. And I also think it's very interesting that we do address the non-follower in the room. Like, I do appreciate that because, you could have like somebody coming in and we always say like, are you kicking the tires? Like, you're just really not sure about this. Just to have the application of like, no, we're going to teach you about how we as followers of Christ need to be holy and see the reverence of God as a holy God. But like, you're not biblically, like you're not technically like held to these standards because you're not even a follower of Christ.
Right.
So I really appreciate that we like put that disclaimer in there.
No,
Yep.
that's good.
No, I like that.
No. Yeah, I mean, he talked about Isaiah 6, which is if you grew up in church world, you probably heard this. This is the "Here am I, send me" type message, and Isaiah's like freaking out because he's in the presence of God and he recognizes the gap between where he's at and where God is, and it wrecks him. Do we have any level of that? Now, there is a difference, obviously, because in Christ, Hebrews tells us that we can come boldly before the throne of grace. And so we have access that Isaiah could not have imagined, I think. So there are some pretty key differences.
Yeah.
But it still highlights the holiness of God, which, if you're a 80s punk rock fan,
I wasn't born in
the band, well, you
time.
can still like the music.
True.
You can still like the music.
Yeah, it's true.
The grandfathers of Christian punk, One Bad Pig, they do a song called Isaiah 6. Pretty
I heard
rocking.
that.
You can check it out. Maybe Haley will link it in the
One bad pick.
One bad
the
pig.
credits
That's
at the
the-
end.
Yeah.
Produced by Haley, co-star Haley Rasika.
I don't ever do that. Someone did come up to me yesterday. They're like, "You're the girl that does the podcast, right?" It's like, yes, I am.
Oh boy.
I'm getting noticed.
Was
Hey.
it Kelly? I can see Kelly doing that.
I don't know.
Or
who it
Bonnie.
was.
Okay.
I can't remember her name. She didn't introduce herself to me though. I meet a lot of people when I'm up here, and I try.
A lot of people
Oh.
ask
Try
you where
really
your
hard.
kids are too. They don't really care about you. They just want your kids.
That was harsh.
No,
Fish
because
told
that's
me
what
that.
Brandon told
Fish
her.
literally looked at me and
Yeah.
was like, "You do know we don't actually care about you and Chris, right? I just want Graham here."
I don't know. Could Graham produce a podcast?
Probs not.
Because
Yeah, probably not. I don't think he can
not.
technically fly by himself either. So
He can't. He's under
you
the
could be
age.
his
not even
chaperone.
if he like had like a whatever, like, hey, watch this kid. Make sure.
Do
he
they
doesn't
even do
try
that
to-
anymore?
I
They
don't know.
do. You have to be like, I think you have to be 8,
Oh,
7 or 8. Yeah, pretty sure.
Okay.
Anyways,
Okay.
they'll be here next time.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I got it.
I think we
think
covered a
that's-
lot of ground.
I would say
I
so.
think
A
we
little bit of
solved at
everything.
least a third of the world's problems.
At least.
Maybe started
Probably started
half
some
a
more.
dozen new
Yep.
ones.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's okay
Yeah.
though.
There's balance right
There's
there.
a lot of conversation
But-
starters
There might
in
be a
this
lot of comments.
conversation.
There we go. We
Yeah.
hope so.
Opinions.
Well,
Yeah,
we hope
like
so.
because-
share what you think.
I'll just share it with like all my cousins, and then
Hey, that'll increase our
It
you
will.
know,
Our-
you know, 'cause
we
we're
might get more
we're
subscribers.
getting close to
We're
1,000.
Super close.
I mean, you
I'll
send it
get you
to
over the
like
1,000 threshold.
yeah, dude.
I'll
Just
post it in our family. We have a family Facebook page.
Oh.
Okay.
You have a family Facebook page?
Yeah.
See, I'm
is so
technically
foreign to me.
attached to it. I don't know most of the people that post
In my
on
family
it. Like,
Facebook page?
No, on my
They're cousins.
yeah.
We're not.
Turns out we're related. No, I don't even remember what
It's
I was
time
talking
to
about.
end this.
You said
right, so-
you said family. I said I had a family Facebook page, and you said
So just throw
Rasika
this
is
out
going
there.
to share this with her
throw
cousins,
this
and
out
we're going to
there.
get to 1,000.
Yep.
Okay, but even though we're not there yet, we're going to do a coffee party March 23. I don't know if the registration's live yet or not,
It's
but
not.
watch for that.
Because the
Look for it.
graphics not made.
Okay, that's probably why.
not.
So at some point in the near future, you can get registered for that
Register.
coffee party and share,
Like,
rate, review,
subscribe,
subscribe,
Comment.
do all those
Do the
things.
thing.
All the things.
All the things.
Unless you're just going to comment about how you don't like the Trinity.
Maybe don't do that.
Or if you're
although
gonna,
Jeffrey, our boy Jeffrey, he's in there doing battle. He's like he's
Oh, yeah.
engaging all the
Hey,
peeps that are
that's
like
awesome.
hating
That's
on the
good.
Trinity. So
yeah.
thanks for doing that,
Hey,
Jeff.
Thanks.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Until next time, signing off. You should all do like a salute or like a something. I don't know.
Like a.
It's a unique episode.
that's what he does.
That's my like a.
Oh
that's my
man, we
thing.
are cousins.
Do you-